Hi, friends. Good morning. I cannot believe it. It is December 1st, 2023. Welcome to the third season of the Friends of Franz podcast. Wow, 3 seasons over the past 3 years. When I first conceptualized the series back in late 2020 and officially executed it as an original Instagram livestream series in early 2021, I could have never imagined the borders that we crossed, the lives touched, and the homes reached through the show. I have 3 goals for the podcast. 1. To educate the public through expert guests. 2. Humanize healthcare workers through life stories. And 3. Provide a platform to the underrepresented in medicine and science. Because of all of you who have tuned in the past few years, and I'm so touched to know that many of you will continue to tune in for this third season, we have made these goals attainable with each episode. This third season was a whole year's work of meetings and planning with expert guests, sleepless nights of recording and editing, and just hidden excitement and enthusiasm for this awaited release. And I know I have made you all wait so long for the third season to be launched, so I will cut to the chase. I am so excited to introduce to all of you our first expert guest for this episode to jumpstart our season. She's a dear friend, an inspiration, a mother, a physician, and just a rock star of a woman. And that word is the very crux of our episode today, woman. I mean, what better way to begin the new season than hearing from a badass woman? Having grown up with my mom, who was a nurse of 3 decades and recently retired, yes, I am jealous. And having worked with so many women professionals in the clinical setting, I have seen the power when women lead care. A study in 2021 by the Journal of the American Medical Association, or JAMA, found that women are 32% more likely to die post-operatively if their surgeon was a man, relaying better health outcomes for both male and female patients with female surgeons. This echoes a 2017 JAMA study outside the surgical domain that also showed lower mortality and hospital readmission rates with care by female physicians. Additionally, according to a 2002 JAMA systematic review, 50% of women physicians are likely to spend 16 minutes or more with their patients, compared to 42% of male physicians. And this is what I do today, spend 16 minutes and more with the incredible Dr. Michelle, or Shelley Rockwell. You may know her as Dr. Mommy MD. I mean, what can I say? Studies already show it. Women rock in taking care of patients. We recorded this episode back in February during National Women Physicians Day, and you are in for a ride of a conversation. Patriarchy in medicine, sexism in the workplace, the undeniable pay gap, and just the difference in women-led care. I won't keep you waiting any longer. Meet Dr. Rockwell.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hi. Long time no see.
Oh my gosh, I miss you so much. Can you believe it's been over a year since
No way.
we had our brunch at
Was
Soho?
January last year or December? I can't even remember. It was too long ago.
January last year for Katie's tour, right?
Oh my gosh, way too long.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I've been so excited. I am so honored. Today is a very special day, and apparently there's a very, very, very deep history behind today. Today is National Women Physicians Day, and we'll talk more about the history a little bit. But, when I was thinking of this day, I mean, my mom is a nurse. She's not a physician, but I think through her growing up, I saw how much power and just beauty women bring to the space of healthcare and taking care of people. So when I was thinking of starting the live stream season again, I was like, when should I do it? And I said, there's no perfect day but National Women's Physician Day. And there was no one in mind but you. So thank you so much for saying
seriously
yes.
Warms my heart so much. That is the sweetest thing ever. Such a compliment.
If you could first please introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Shelley Rockwell. I am double board certified in family medicine and sports medicine, and I have practiced a lot of different types of medicine up until this point of my career. Currently, I'm working in urgent care, but I've done a breadth of stuff that we can talk about.
I wanted to know, like, where the inspiration from entering medicine came from. Was there a family member or a friend or a personal experience?
It's actually been like a really long, twisty road. My dad was the only one that went to college, even, and he was an entrepreneur. And so there's no one in medicine in my life
Mm,
whatsoever. And I actually was an English major at NYU, New York, and I thought I was going to be a teacher, and that was, going to be my career. I was so excited. I loved reading and Shakespeare and all the things. I was such a nerd. And then I realized, gosh, do I really want to read like Romeo and Juliet every year for the rest of my life? Probably not. So I had a kind of change of heart my senior year of college and decided I wanted to go into medicine. And the spark where that came from was that I had had heart surgery when I was in high school, which I think you had heart surgery too. Did you not?
yeah, I
Okay,
did.
I thought so.
Friends.
And so I just had loved my cardiologist.
Mm,
He like always knew what was going on in my life, always had like that small talk that just made you feel really connected. And so he really inspired me to go into medicine. And so here I am. I thought I was going to do pediatric cardiothoracic surgery, but again, like you go into a career
yeah.
and you don't realize how many different pathways there are.
Mhm.
And during your training, so many of your feelings can change. And like, that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important during your life, whatever phase of training or career you're in, is to keep an open mind because you never know what you're going to fall in love with. And I did. I loved surgery, but then I had family medicine and I really loved
Mm,
it. And I was like, wow, there's so much that I can do with this. It's a good lifestyle and I could still do procedural things.
mhm.
And then, yeah, that's where I ended up.
Yeah, it's beautiful how our interactions with other healthcare workers can be like, obviously, as a patient, can bring this whole cascade of, oh, actually, I want to do something like this for a living or for the rest of my life, right? So I know you went through post-bac studies, right? Because
Mhm.
you were a different major, and then you did post-bac, and then you did medical
Right.
school. And I know you're dual board certified in sports medicine and family medicine. Which one came first for those who don't know?
Yeah, so family medicine came first. You can actually do sports medicine through a lot of different
Mhm.
things: internal medicine, pediatric, emergency medicine, family medicine, PM&R. Once you get into medicine, there's still so many choices that you
Mhm.
can make. So, yeah, family medicine first. And then I always loved sports. I was an athlete myself. I loved having healthy patients that really wanted to get better and
Mhm.
get back to
Mhm.
the thing that they love to do. There are tons of procedures in sports medicine. I did a lot of spinal procedures. And
Mhm.
so I thought that that was like a great blend, my surgical interests and then,
Mhm.
just a cool lifestyle, super fun.
Yeah, and all of that entails like years of training and
14
education, right?
years, 14 years
14
from
years.
college through all my
Gosh.
training. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. Like all of my
Yeah.
friends from high school had like big jobs and were making all the money in New York City. And here I am, like still at school at the library, but it was still worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same kind of similar process in other countries in the world, right? Usually like 4 or 5 years of undergrad and 4 years of medical school and then X amount years of training, totaling up to your 14. Every physician I've had on the show, it's like a lot of sacrifices entailed, a lot of mental, emotional, psychological toll, so many missed birthdays or
Oh my
family
gosh, yeah.
reunions and holidays. Do you have, and the debt incurred about it too?
Yeah, let's not even
We
go
can't
there.
forget about the debt. Do you have any regrets at the end of it all?
I mean, honestly, like I did miss a lot. Like I remember in med school one time my parents coming to visit for like Christmas and like I was at the library like almost every day except for dinner time where I would eat with them for an hour and then go back and study. And like that, it does break my heart and I'm lucky that they're still here and I'm still able to spend a ton of time with them. They literally live right over there. I can see their house. But, gosh, if something had happened to them when I was in school or, like, I just don't know. It is a lot of time. It is a lot of life that you miss out on, but I love what I do. And I think that that's so important. The debt is real. I mean, I think I have more debt than almost anybody I've ever heard from before. $600,000 of school
It's a
debt. And
the crown.
yeah. I talked to a financial planner once and they were like, oh, I've only ever had one person other than you like have that much ever in my career. And I was like, oh. So honestly, like sometimes I do regret going to schools that like I turned down a couple of scholarships for med school because I wanted to go to like a top 10 med school. It's not important, you know, like at the end of the day, no one cares where you went to med school. You all get the same education. And so if I had any advice to anyone, it would be, you know, go where you get a scholarship or go where the cost of living is cheaper, but you don't need to spend that much money on school. It does not matter. So unless you're going into like plastic surgery or something where you need like these intense credentials, you could definitely save money. But my loans are currently being forgiven by the government. So there's that I'm very excited about because I've given 10 years of service and nonprofit organizations. So, okay, that's a big burden.
I know. Yeah, and it's really a huge toll. And I was talking about this too before with Dr. Kate, neonatologist, and how, you know, the debt is really crippling amongst other things, right? And it's sadly, part of the journey that makes it so hard. And it's a decision that many also have to think about really well, right? I often wish I had perfect vision. There is so much intricacy in life and beauty in the world around me that I often miss because my view can get so blurry. Though I had glasses for years, I opted never to wear them because of the embarrassing indentations and marks they left behind on my face. Covri seeks to target this common struggle within the eyewear market. Covri is a 100% AAPI woman-owned inclusive eyewear brand designed for comfort, offering a wide range of sunwear and specs with prescription lens options. With their signature elevated fit that features longer nose pads, a reduced frame curvature, and a narrowed nose bridge to elevate the frame, Covri is designed to better complement diverse facial features such as low nose bridges and high cheekbones for an effortless fit. Beyond this, the premium handcrafted frames are made from plant-based acetate and lenses with 100% UV protection. Find your perfect fit with their offers of a home and virtual try-on. With the code Franz, that's FRANZ, you can get $20 off any frame you like on shopcovri.com. See the world's beauty more comfortably with Covri. This offer is valid in one frame per order, cannot be combined with any other offers, and is limited to one use per customer. There are luxuries in life that see beyond material things. Practices like self-care and skincare can be an oasis in the whirlwinds and busyness of life. But what if there exists a harmony between material and immaterial luxuries? House of M Beauty is a saffron-infused luxury skincare line that harnesses the antioxidant, vitamin C-rich, anti-inflammatory, and antibacterial power of the highest quality medicinal-grade saffron. They are a clean treatment skincare line suitable for sensitive and postpartum skin. Their unique and consciously crafted formulations maximize the potency of medicinal saffron to calm and soothe sensitive skin while brightening and targeting skin concerns. From their skin polish, to the miracle serum, to the glow jelly mask, and the Silk Night Concentrate, experience the luxurious transformation saffron can bring to your skin with the code FRANZ20, that's FRANZ20, for 20% off your first order on houseofmbeauty.com. Also available at Nordstrom nationwide. As a nurse, I am on my feet, alert for 12 hours or more each day. There is no space for drowsiness or lethargy in my job because my patients' well-being is at stake. Sometimes, you just need the extra energy boost from coffee. Robusta coffee offers 2 times more caffeine and antioxidants with 60% less sugar. But did you know that thanks to its climate and fertile volcanic soil, Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee producer and the #1 grower of Robusta? Nguyen Coffee Supply is America's first specialty, women-owned Vietnamese coffee company set to change the future of coffee through sustainability, diversity, and inclusion. They only roast coffee beans that are hand-picked at peak ripeness from direct trade Vietnamese farms to produce sweet and flavorful coffee without any additives, flavorings, or oils. Get your own velvety coffee experience for 15% off your order with the code FRANZ15, that's FRANZ15 at nguyencoffeesupply.com. Talking about that, I mean, that can be a very universal experience, right? All of the debt, all the emotional toll, both male and women physicians alike go through that for the most part. But there are certain experiences that I realize as a nurse who works with different physicians. There are some experiences that only women physicians physicians do go through. And this is something that I really wanted to talk about. And this, I know we talked about this too when we were having brunch at Soho House. And that's why I specifically chose this day to have this live stream, because I think it's a very important conversation to have. Again, it's National Women's Physicians Day. And a quick history lesson for those who may not know, I looked this up too, but the first woman to become a physician in the United States was Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell in 1849. And she pursued medicine because her friend was ill, and her friend was like, you know what, I probably wouldn't have suffered so much if it was a female doctor who was caring for me. So Dr. Blackwell applied to so many medical schools, but only one took her. And it's because the male medical students voted her acceptance. And this was back in the 1840s. And this was Geneva Medical School, which has been closed, which was in New York. And so she became the first female physician, and she actually founded New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital. So through one woman, it's like generations of strong women in medicine have emerged. And one of them is you. Right. And as part of that legacy and that rich history, for you, what does it mean to be a woman in medicine? And what do you think are the essences of a woman that contribute to your practice as a physician that may be different from, let's say, a male physician could give to their patients?
Well, I also love my male colleagues, but we women are rock stars.
I agree.
But I do want to say also, because it is Black History Month, that Rebecca Lee Crumpler was the first African American woman in medicine in 1864, which wasn't too far after Elizabeth Blackwell. And when I looked up that stat, I was actually really surprised. And I don't know, it just made my heart happy. So, and her name is just not put out there as much. So I wanted to be sure to do that. But yeah, so women, I mean, the studies show that we provide better care. So, so it says women physicians are likely to spend more than 16 minutes a day with their patients, whereas like men are not. 42% of males are only able to, when half of females are. So we spend more time with our patients. I think that we bring a lot of compassion to the table. A study that was in JAMA surgery showed that women were 32% less likely to die if they were treated by a female surgeon rather than a male one. So, I mean, if that's not saying something, I don't know what is. I think that we're very conscientious, very detail-oriented. We really listen to our patients, which I think is something that nurses bring to the table as well. You guys really spend a lot of time with your patients and know them well. And then, you know, since becoming a mother, especially, I feel like it has just completely changed me and completely changed the way I practice medicine, the way I interact with my patients, the amount of empathy I have for people, especially families. Like if I see a 2-year-old sitting in my waiting room, like on the list, I do not let them wait. I tell my staff to bring them back right away, because I know as a mom how hard it is to like wrangle a 2-year-old in an urgent care. It's just awful. So I think, you know, as a woman, we just bring a little bit, sometimes more tenderheartedness to our practice of medicine.
Yeah, and I super agree with that. And I've seen that firsthand as a nurse at the bedside, in the office, and in different other settings. But, you know, despite all of those stats and how clear-cut those stats are, the perception of the public still does not equate to the beauty in those stats, right? And I think this is where I want to delve deeper into the not-so-happy experiences you have had as a woman physician in practice. And I say this because, again, I've seen it many times. I remember probably like 2 years ago, I was working in the hospital, and this was the start of shift. And I came in, right? I had my badge on, registered nurse, and the female resident comes in her white coat with her badge that says doctor. We both go in, and I'm like, hi to the patient. I'm Christian. I'll be your nurse for tonight. Here is Dr. So-and-so. She's your doctor, and she'll be with us for the rest of the night. And it's like, looking at me only. It's like, okay, doctor. And I'm like, no, I am not the doctor. She is your doctor. It's like, no, she's the nurse. And I'm a nurse. I can speak. Nurses are amazing, as a clear cut for myself too. But in that instance, I saw that there's still a perception in the public that because nursing is such a female-dominated field, that most people think that when a woman walks in the hospital floors, it's a nurse and it's not a doctor, as if women cannot be physicians. Of course, there is also a huge population where people are just adamant that they don't want a female doctor caring for them, which I've also seen in person. And my heart just broke for the female resident. She was an intern at that time. Mm-hmm. And can you just imagine like all the hard work and studying that she has done to be, disregarded at that moment. And I wanted to talk about your experiences as a woman in medicine. Was there ever a time or times where you felt like you were prejudiced or you were disregarded as a physician because you were a woman?
Definitely has happened. I mean, I can't even count on my two hands how many times that story has happened to me where, I'll walk into a room after the nurse has already been in and introduce themselves and they still think that I'm the nurse and can't believe that I'm official. Oh, a woman, you're a physician. Like they're not even shy about saying how
they're not shy.
they are. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. And I've gotten a little more ballsy in my old age now, and I'll say something to people like, what makes you think that a female can't be a physician? And then they're just like, oh, shouldn't have said that. I didn't expect that. But yeah, I mean, like that perception is still out there. I've never had anyone like blatantly refuse to have me as their doctor, but I think we talked about like my sports medicine experience and how it's a very male dominated field. Both the patients that I cared for were mostly male, but the other providers were. And I worked for Division I teams in my first job out of residency, which, was a big step. But I think I also brought a lot to the table being fresh with a lot of new high-tech like ultrasound talent. Like I knew a lot coming out of residency and training directly that some people just didn't have experience with. So I think I brought a lot to the table. But then after 6 months of working there, I realized that I was the only one not being paid for my work in the training center. Like the other 4 men that I was working with, they were all getting stipends for working with the athletes, and I was just doing it for free. So, I mean, that happens all the time. And I mean, there's a huge pay gap. So for every dollar a man earns, a woman only earns 74 cents in medicine. So, I mean, over your career, that's between like 1 million and $2.5 million lost, which is crazy. Like we're doing the same job. Why should there be that gap?
Why do you think that's the case, both from patients and other providers? Why do you think there is, I mean, I think we know the answer, but for you, as you're the one who could speak on it, because you are a woman in medicine who has gone through training, who has gone through education, why do you think that is the case?
I think that women are less likely to ask for what we deserve, really, because if we do, we're seen as like bitches or too needy or, and we're worried that we're not going to get the job because we're going to ask for more money. I think we just don't negotiate the way that men do, and that really has to change. I think there are a lot of big changes happening with this, with a lot more companies becoming transparent with salaries. And I think it's just something that we've been pushing for. So I think that that's really important. So I think for women, just know your worth and negotiate and don't be scared. If they don't give you the job because you ask for more money because you know you deserve it, then there will be another job for you.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok is the place where you really find stories from residents, female residents specifically, that when I watch it, and I remember the first time I would watch some things, I'm like, how is this happening in the 2000s? And the one I can never forget, and I watched this a year ago, was, I think she's an attending now, but she said during her residency, her male attending slapped her across the face in the OR. She was a surgical resident because she put trash in the wrong type of garbage can and called her stupid. You will never see a male attending do that to a male resident. And people in the comments were like, why didn't you report it? Blah, blah. She's like, I did report it. And she was gaslit. And she said that she was afraid that all of her hard work will go down the drain because a woman decides to stick up for herself in the operating room.
Yeah.
And we see this pervasiveness in surgery in general, which is, I mean, just the statistics and demographics alone of women in surgery is lower compared to, let's say, pediatrics or dermatology or whatnot. And I think that's something that I wanted to ask you as an attending now. There's so many girls, both young and old women out there who may still be dreaming to become a physician, but are afraid of the inequities in medicine and the whole training and education because they are women. And they may be hesitant or afraid to go through this route because of the things that they've heard from their own mentors or whatnot. What would be your word of advice or message to them?
I would say, it would be really naive to say it doesn't exist, but I do think a lot is changing. And I think that just being there is empowering and your presence is important, right? And, like one other story that I think I had told you about was that I was taking care of a baseball team and I showed up to work in a black t-shirt and a yellow scarf, which was the team colors, and khaki pants, and they told me, "Oh, that outfit's inappropriate. You need to wear this sweatshirt." And they handed me like an extra extra large men's like hoodie to wear when it was like, it was like 80 degrees outside. It was ridiculous. And they said that I was too distracting. I couldn't sit in like the dugout where the other doctors always sat because I was distracting. And I was like, well, that's not my fault. Like, if your team is being distracted, then that's their fault. But I'm professional and I'm sitting here and I'm doing my job just like everybody else. But and it broke my heart, honestly. Like it was awful, and I felt terrible. I had to go sit in the stands, and like nobody else had to do that. And it was because I was a female, because of the way I looked, and I can't control that, right? And I never said anything about that either because I was in my fellowship and I wasn't an attending yet, and I didn't want to like start my career being like the girl that caused problems. I just wanted to do my job and move on. I do regret not speaking up on it or not causing a ruckus about it because, that's bullshit, really. Yeah. So even if you don't feel empowered when you're younger, just know that there is going to come a time when you are, and there will always be women that will stand up for you, and and men too, and find those people, and really, it's worth it. I promise.
and you see this. I think a whole revolution within the world of medicine, physicians, especially within women, right? Like the med bikini or the medkini, right? Where I think it was an article posted by vascular surgeons who were saying women who wear this or that are unprofessional and shouldn't do it.
But men could wear their bathing suits, no big deal.
And it's like, how is that possible? Even I think 2 weeks ago, like the whole thoracic surgery convention, they had this PowerPoint slide when it came to like diversity and inclusion, where it's like it's not necessary and it could be harmful to patients. I'm like, what's going on? But I am glad. I'd like to say that the new generation of physicians and medical students as well, right? I think they're really fighting for a world of equality. And I wanted to pull stats from AAMC, actually, that in 2019, 50.5% of U.S. medical students, both MD and DO, were women.
Finally, we're taking over.
And you're talking about look for women and men in your training, I guess, in your education, who will stand up for you. And I wanted to ask, does anyone come into mind, given that it's National Women Physicians Day, anytime during your medical school or residency or fellowship where you really were inspired by another female doctor?
Yes, 100%. Like this woman, like I probably need to write her a letter because she just changed my life. Her name at the time was Jenna Hirsch, but I think she's since gotten married. And she was this like tiny, petite, blonde, cute lady, always wore heels, always dressed so beautifully, which I think, again, as a woman, like you think, oh, you have to stay under the radar, like don't wear heels, don't wear cute outfits. But like I like wearing pink. I like being vibrant, but she was that way and she just didn't care. She was a pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon, like one of, I think, like 5 in the country that were female at the time. I mean, I'm old, so this was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And she was just like this cute little thing, and she would play all the coolest music in the OR. But when she did her job, like it was business, and she knew what she was doing, and she would sew those tiny baby hearts up, and she was so inspiring. She Like she knew I wanted to do that, and
Mm.
she would invite me into the OR with her all the time and just took me under her wing, helped me get research, was really like went out of her way when she already had like literally the hardest job in the
Mhm.
world. And just to see her like be unapologetically herself
Mm.
while being this like total badass surgeon. I mean, I was so lucky to have her just like even anywhere in my
Yeah.
sphere.
Being in scrubs the whole shift and for days at work can sometimes strip you of your sense of fashion and self-expression. But instilling a bit of design and color does not hurt to let your personality shine through your uniform. V-Coterie is a leading provider of healthcare jewelry and accessories for playful, everyday wear, from pins to badge reel charms and medical specialty-specific necklaces. With their creative process paralleling the founder's background in dentistry, V-Coterie was founded to spark the genius within you, redefining the traditional boundaries for jewelry and accessories. They believe fashion can celebrate curiosity and the pursuit of knowledge while allowing you to express your truest self. From the curious student to a confident clinician or even a kidney transplant survivor, V-Coterie is here to celebrate you no matter where the journey takes you. Get 15% off your first order with the code VFriendsOfFranz on vcoterie.com. Find your daily dose of style and make your passion your fashion. As someone with acne-prone skin, I always fear using new moisturizers that may be too heavy on my skin and clog my pores. This is why I love my Aloe Quench by Skin by Anthos, a facial moisturizer made for all skin types, especially for sensitive skin like mine. Made with an oil-free formula using aloe, glycerin, and green tea, it is suitable for acne-prone, oily, or combination skin. Its soothing and paraben-free formula makes it even great for sunburns and patients taking Accutane. Skin by Anthos is the byproduct of the minds and expertise of board-certified dermatology professionals and proud AAPI mothers who saw the need for access to pharmaceutical-strength and professional-grade skincare for those with sensitive skin and/or skin of color, from the safety and convenience of home. Experience a regimen tailored to your skin type that is strong enough to deliver medical-grade results for 20% off with the code FRANZPODCAST when you order on skinbyanthos.com. The sense of taste is so intriguing. A cascade of good memories can wash over you as you experience a flavor you have met before. Founded by Hanabe, Helmi, a loving nickname for grandma in Korean, is a brand of light sparkling beverages that evokes feelings of nostalgia for Koreans and Asians in general, but also curiosity if you are not familiar with certain ingredients and the story behind the flavors. Inspired by traditional Korean flavors through family recipes and made with real fruits and spices, Helmi's debut flavor, Cinnamon Ginger Jujube Persimmon, is a sparkling take on Korea's beloved sujongwa, a sweetened spice punch that has been brewed for generations to aid digestion and is shared during Korea's most festive moments. It is their version of a healthier, lighter ginger ale. With the code FRANZ, that's FRANZ, you can get 15% off your first order on drinkhelmi.com. Partake in honoring roots, strengthening ancestral connections, and celebrating hyphenated identities with unique, refreshing, and better-for-you ingredients. What's amazing is, unknowingly, that's what you're also doing for many now through your platform. And I want to touch upon, we've talked a lot about women in medicine, especially physicians, and the difficulties that you face every day from your peers, from patients, and we talked about our hope for the whole world of healthcare, especially with the help of the new generation of practitioners, right? I want to talk about Dr. Mommy MD.
Yeah.
Where did this come out of? Because now, like that mentor who was a pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon, I feel like in a way you're also like that for others, right? You're guiding others in a way, being their voice, helping them, guide them in ways that may be confusing and scary. So I wanted to ask about Dr. Mommy MD and how it came about and what your goal and vision for it is.
Yeah, so I started this platform when I was pregnant with Mason, which was, he's 5 now. So it was like back in 2017. And I mean, like, this is like the era of Instagram where everything was still just like beautiful pictures, like just the total aesthetic life, like everything is perfect. And like when I was pregnant, I was like, holy crap, like that's like not how I feel right now. Like I feel like a mess. I feel like so alone. Like I don't even know what's happening to me. And like, yeah, I just like basically felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but I was constantly like checking to see if my symptoms were normal. And I'm a doctor. I'm not only that, but I'm a family medicine doctor. And so this is what I'm trained in. I'm trained in taking care of moms and babies and families. And still, I didn't feel like confident in all the things that were happening to me. And so I wanted to, be that person for other moms to say, hey, this is normal, or like, hey, these are the facts, because I think we all know that there's a lot of misinformation out there on the interwebs these days. And so I just wanted to be kind of just like this beacon of truth and honesty and inspiration for other moms. And I wanted to make other people feel not so alone. So I kind of just started posting pictures, talking about my journey. And then, when I actually had Mason and became a mom, I felt like that educational portion and kind of connection with other moms was even more important, because it's lonely being a mom. I mean, and it's really hard, a lot harder than I ever thought it would be. And everybody on Instagram was like posting it as like, oh, my baby's wearing this cute outfit and like life is so easy. And that's not what motherhood is like. So, I mean, of course, it's beautiful and I love being a mom, but it's also really hard. And there's a lot to learn. There's a huge learning curve, even as a physician, right? And so I wanted to make sure that I was putting out good information and inspiring other moms, really.
It's beautiful. You inspire me so much, and I will never forget that brunch in Soho House with Jackie, where you and her were just talking, and I just felt like the world stopped around us because we were talking about so many things, and I can't believe that it's been over a year and so many things in the world has changed, and I know in our personal lives as well, especially you and your beautiful house going on as well.
I'm finally here after gosh, who knows how long this has been now, but we're here, we're working on it. It's
beautiful, and it's the fruit of many labors. And I mean, I think that's what life is, right? It's a fruit of so many things, all the difficulties you have gone through. When you specifically your whole journey in medicine, motherhood, and your platform here online, and you still work as a physician every day, obviously, and taking care of people. And taking care of people is not easy because you don't just give your physical energy, right? But there's that whole emotional and mental toll as well, especially as a physician. I can't imagine, I mean, people's lives are executed in your hands, right? You're applying your treatment for them. How do you decompress from out of all of that, out of work?
It hasn't been a thing that I've been very good at the past 5 years. I mean, like when you become a mom, like suddenly your life revolves around them, as it should, right? And well, I mean, I don't want to say as it should, but it tends to happen, right? And sometimes you lose yourself and your passions and your hobbies. And same with medicine or training or going to nursing school. It's like you're so engrossed in this thing, pursuing this goal, that pieces of you like just slip away. And just recently, I feel like I've started to come back to some of my passions. One is even going back to being an English major and like reading books, and that's like my little escapism. And it's a beautiful thing because even sitting there on the couch with my kids, I can like open a book, and it's good for them to see me reading, and it's good for me because I love it. But it's something that in the past 5 years I really haven't done. I've just really not. Exercising used to be a huge part of my life. I was an athlete. I was, a runner in college. I played every sport in the books. But I also think like now my kids are like 3 and 5 and they're starting to get into sports. So I'm playing with them, doing basketball, playing soccer. And so that passion is starting to come back to me too. I'm starting therapy next week. I know. I've been to therapy twice before. Once after September 11th, because I lived in New York City and was really affected by that. And then I had actually a stalker in my fellowship who was a patient of mine. And it really affected my ability to connect with patients. And so after that, I went to therapy also. Like it's kind of, I feel like therapy is something that kind of falls off the wagon a little bit when you're, doing okay. And then you realize that maybe should just be a part of my life. For everybody, I almost think.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really proud of myself because it's hard. I mean, like, gosh, it's hard to find somebody you connect with or even find somebody who takes your insurance. I mean,
Yes. Insurance.
so I'm doing that. And then, I mean, in this house, like, I love decorating. I love sharing that part
I can
of me
tell.
now.
Yeah, I love
I'm
it too.
really excited to,
Yeah.
now that it's done, to share more of
Yeah.
that. And then, I think like you, like just being a creator, like that's one of the reasons I started my platform on Instagram was, aside from the whole being a new mom thing, was my passion in photography.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
just could sit there and edit a picture for like hours. It's
Yeah.
just it's like art for me,
Yeah.
And so just taking pictures and doing things like that, just
Yeah.
letting out that creative side that's
Yeah.
been kind of in hiding.
Yeah, I love it. And, aside from that creation, it's like content creation as well, even this huge but also small world of social media. We get to meet so many amazing people. I've met so many amazing people, and one of them is you. And it's just been an honor to sit down with you today and talk about very important topics that, as we're talking about it now, we're pulling out statistics or pulling out this and this, but as you can say from your own experience, like it's a very tangible and visceral experience that someone might be experiencing right now, right? Like at this very moment, everything that we've talked about. And so I'm so grateful to have had this conversation with you. And this is the first episode of my third season, and I always knew it was going to be you. So thank you so
Oh
much
my
for
God. I like
giving me.
honestly like meeting you and talking to you, like you're like my kindred spirit. I adore you and I cannot wait to come back to New
Yeah.
York and hang out in
Yes,
person. But
please.
yeah,
Me
I
and
have to come back
Katie.
and visit.
Yeah, me and Katie are just here. We need a
Well, yeah, now that
reunion, but
Katie's there, I mean, I want to bring the kids next time though, but
yeah,
they're crazy. So you're going to be in
we're
for it.
ready.
Yeah.
We're ready. Shelly, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I enjoyed this conversation. I learned so much, and thank you so much for your
So good
time.
to talk
And
to
thank you
you.
to
Love
everyone who
you.
love you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.